Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I am your host, Jon Herold, and I hope you all are having just a wonderful day so far. How is the chat doing? Looks like we got a good crew already. I think Trump might be live right now, or the White House might be live. Let me double check here what's going on, because there's two special coverage stuff going on today. There's a White House press briefing, and then I think Trump is signing a proclamation here later today. That begins at 3:30 p.m. my time, so that'll be 4:30 Eastern. So stay tuned for that. What else is going on? Oh, the Vikings won last night. I was kind of trying to watch it during the stream a little bit, but not really. I did watch it before the game started. My son's a big Vikings fan, and so we watched it before I put him to bed. And when I started doing the show prep stuff and getting ready for the show, they were getting their butts kicked. They were not playing very well. Their quarterback didn't look that good. I was a little like, okay, here we go. New season, same old, same old. And it ended up being a nice little victory for them. They pulled it out. Low 90s in California right now. That's awesome. What's up, Jackie? Plenty to discuss today, I think. Lots of interesting news stories. We're gonna, a couple interesting ones that have been kind of wrapped up now that we've kind of been waiting on. A couple Truth Social posts, but not many. We do have an update on the DOGE website. We'll get to that. But before we do, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. As always, guys, if you need a good night's sleep, there's really, a couple key ingredients that you need. And one of those, if not the most important ingredient, is your pillow. You got to get a good pillow. And if you're going to buy a pillow, you might as well support Badlands Media in the process and get one of the best pillows you can find. $19.98 for a standard My Pillow. Queen size, $24.98. King size, $29.98. The body pillows are $39.98. And the multi-use My Pillows for only $12.98. Go to mypillow.com, use promo code BADLANDS. You can also call 1-800-795-5154 to take advantage of wholesale pricing and receive $100 in free digital gifts when your order is $75 or more. Again, the standard My Pillow, just $19.98. Insane. Insanely good price, I'm saying. We also got some Pet Club.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
All right. Thank you, Pet Club. Thank you, My Pillow. We'll get to some soft disclosure a little bit later. I see CKLR in the chat says, my boss is flying from Edmonton, Alberta to Minneapolis to watch the Vikings this week. I don't even know who they play this week, if I'm being totally honest. Let me check that quick. Oh, they got the Falcons. Yeah, they got a few games in a row now at home, like a bunch of games in a row at home. I'd love to make it to a game, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that off this year. There's a lot going on, but we'll see. Mimi, 2 boys times 2 says, I just got my sheets and energy drinks this morning. Good for you. And thank you. Hope you use promo code Badlands. Bravis says, Rumble is bad for me today. Yeah, so there's some issues going on in the chat yesterday. At least that's what the chat was saying. They were having issues. I ended up reaching out to Rumble this morning because of that, but also some of our thumbnails weren't loading. They were just having some back-end tech issues, and they said they got them resolved. So if you're still having issues with the chat or whatever, make sure you're updating your phone app. because I think that might fix it. Rookie Irish, according to Matt Arrett, that trip will take 2 weeks. Oh, that's funny. Tried the energy drink yet? This is Spetzel says, tried the energy drink yet? Wanted to try the sampler, but only available if you would sign up for a subscription and didn't want a case. Yeah. I tried a couple. They were good. I'm not a huge energy drink guy anymore. I'm coffee. So it is what it is. Jill Strickland, what happened to Josh last night? I actually don't know. Zach hasn't texted me and told me what went down. Or if he did, I missed it. Yeah, I don't see anything from Zach on that. So I have no idea. Super weird. And obviously, like, hope he's okay. Yeah, we'll once we find out, we'll update you. Maybe we'll try to have him on next week instead. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's start plugging away. We have an update on the DOGE website. First update since August 15th. So I think I did the math on this earlier. Let me pull my calculations. It's been 24 days since the last update, and we went from an estimated savings of 205 billion to about 206 billion. So that is an average of 41,666,667 or $666.70 a day. Now, I mean, that kind of seems like a lot. Like if somebody was giving me $41,666,666.70 a day, I'd be pretty pleased with that. Some people apparently believe I basically make that much anyway, which I don't. But it's not much in terms of how much our government spends. And the savings that DOGE has been finding, I mean, they're allegedly still working. Like you can sort this at the bottom and see the updated by date. Nothing up there since the 5th, but there are savings coming in. It's just really not that much. And at this pace, we're not going to get to what we need to turn things around. So they started out hot and they've gotten real slow lately. But hey, update. It's news to us here. No update on the presidential website. We do have a couple Truth Social posts. Trump commented on the stabbing, or the not even stabbing, the murder that took place in was it North Carolina? Oh, that's the wrong one. I want this one. We'll do this one first. All right, this is what he said. I have seen the horrific video of a beautiful young Ukrainian refugee who came to America to escape the vicious war in Ukraine and was innocently riding the metro in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she was brutally ambushed by a mentally deranged lunatic. The perpetrator was a well-known career criminal who had been previously arrested and released on cashless bail in January, a total of 14 times. What the hell was he doing riding the train and walking the streets? Criminals like this need to be locked up. The blood of this innocent woman can literally be seen dripping from the killer's knife, and now her blood is on the hands of the Democrats who refuse to put bad people in jail, including former disgraced governor and wannabe Senator Roy Cooper. North Carolina and every state needs law and order, and only Republicans will deliver it. Additionally, where's the outrage from the mainstream media on this horrible tragedy? Vote for Michael Whatley for United States Senate. He won't let this happen again. I think I saw somebody is putting forth a cashless bail. Where was that? Dang it. I thought I had a story. I thought I saw one of the, was it Elise Stefanik putting forth a bill for cashless bail or to codify it? Elise Stefanik. Hold for processing, guys. Thought I pulled this up, but I didn't. Yeah, here we go. So in the aftermath of this, Elise Stefanik, Blackburn are introducing bills to end cashless bail in D.C. and nationwide. Today, House Leadership Chairwoman Elise Stefanik introduced legislation to end cashless bail throughout the nation. Marsha Blackburn has introduced the Senate companion versions. The Ending Cashless Bail in Our Nation's Capital Act and the Keep Violent Criminals Off Our Streets Act would ban cashless bail in Washington, D.C., and would work to end it nationwide by prohibiting federal funds from going to support policies and far-left officials who are releasing violent criminals back onto the streets. And if you remember, this is something that Trump actually did as an executive order. Did two of them here. You have the measures to end cashless bail and enforce the law in the District of Columbia, and then taking steps to end cashless bail to protect Americans. So he's doing it specifically in Washington, D.C., and then also across the country. The one across the country had a lot to do with funding for these places. Oh, that saves the highlights. That's awesome. Yeah, they're identifying federal funds, including grants, contracts, whatever, provided to cashless bail jurisdictions and potentially suspending them, much in line with what the bill is that they are putting forth here. So, yeah, Congress grifting off of Trump again. They can't come up with an original idea unless it benefits them. I mean, I'm happy with this. This is a good move. Needs to be done. It never should have been started in the first place. Cashless bail is a joke. But yeah, this is a win. Initiated by Trump. Oh, I gotta find my chat. Where'd my chat go? Oh, there we go. Shire Reeve says, not really a fan of Trump turning it into a voting promotion opportunity. Yeah, but that's just what Trump does. Like, Trump knows better than anybody how fake our election system is, right? And he's choosing to operate within that system. So it is what it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that he likes that guy. Like, he freaking advocated and said that we should vote for Lindsey Graham like 3 times. And I'm pretty sure 2 out of those 3 times that he's done that, he came back later and was like, oh, I never should have done this. Why are you there? Trump isn't like Trump's social media postings about, promoting a candidate or something do not necessarily mean that that is who he actually endorses. As Chris would say, this is him, publicly negotiating and, holding his side of the deal for whatever reason. And he can go back on that whenever he wants. And he's not afraid to. But until we get a legitimate election system, what does it even matter? What does it matter who Trump endorses if our elections are fraudulent anyway? You know what I mean? Doesn't really matter. Endorsements in a fraudulent election system are pretty well meaningless. Trump has more elections to win, or no more elections to win, says Ricky Irish. Not for himself, at least we're told. Bravis, nothing to do with votes, rather making people aware of the shit. Yeah. CN Stewart, billionaires and millionaires love the system just the way it is. It does appear that way, doesn't it? Shire Reeve, it was an election promotion regardless, should have been a separate tweet. Yeah. I mean, he's drawing attention to the issue. He's calling out the people who led that issue, like created the scenario which led to the issue. And he's trying to tell people that this is who you got to vote for to fix it. And again, I don't believe our elections are legitimate. So his endorsements on social media mean nothing to me. And I see what you're saying, Shire Reeve. It was unnecessary and disrespectful. I can understand your reading of that. I personally don't see it that way. I personally do not see it that way. Because if you would have done it in a separate tweet, it would have been the same thing, just 2 separate posts. Anyway. Let's keep trucking here. The next social media post is this one, talking about the Fed. The Fed votes on the 17th, which is not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday. If the Fed had followed what we published, I need to resize my browser here. That's why I feel so off. If the Fed had followed what we published, they would have raised rates in early 2021. The entire organization is broken, needs to be fixed. They need to use modern sources of information. We strongly disagree with Ken Griffin. We think incompetence is more important than to defend theoretical independence. He, too late, Powell, has done a terrific job since he adapted a 2 target. It's too low. It's too rigid. They follow data that's years delayed. They don't believe what money supply matters. It's like the Pope not believing Jesus. We think that's a much bigger problem than this notion that they are dependent or they're not independent. Jay Hatfield, Infrastructure Capital Advisor, CEO and CIO on Maria B. Chair Powell was late to raise rates. They need to come down here. There's no question about it. He's dragging his feet. The Fed's going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100. Greg Farinello, American Securities on Maria B. He's on seeing some in the chat here. E.H. Kyle, John, there's 2 bills being written. The one I love is holding the judges accountable for allowing these criminals back out on the streets. I absolutely do love that bill. I think we talked about that last night. Wasn't it Randy Fine who's putting that bill out? Which one do you think is going to actually get promoted? or get put forth. Oh, by the way, it's Alpha Warrior's birthday. Happy birthday to Alpha Warrior. 17th is my birthday. Eric Q. Freeman. Well, happy birthday 8 days early. And you too, Phil Scarborough. I see yours is the 17th as well. Nikki says, got the contact info, John. Oh, all right. I'll reach out to you today if I remember one of these days. BLS just redid the March 24 to March 25 labor data. Almost another million jobs removed from the stats. How many job numbers were fabricated completely under Joe Biden? Like all of them? The 12th is yours. Happy early birthday, Robin Carroll. Bravest says, Trump's true social posts are multi-message directives causing all sorts of actions and reactions that we can't see most of. That is 100% right. And then he goes on to say, watching The Celebrity Apprentice is kind of eye-opening, watching Trump finesse and bully at the same time. Yeah, I mean, everything he does, he's the master manipulator of the narrative, but he's also constantly running psyops. And sometimes the narrative that he wants to put forth is actually being put forth by his message. Sometimes there's like sub-narratives. Sometimes he's putting forth a narrative that he wants the opposite of to get people to react and correct to that narrative. If that makes sense. And we never really know until we see how it plays out on a lot of this stuff. And as Chris will say, sometimes he'll play the good cop and the bad cop on the same issue within like hours of each other. It's brilliant. You can never really predict what he does, but people just like take everything he says at face value and think he's an idiot. It's not true. Bass Burns says, soft disclosure. John removed the H from his name to make an abbreviation accredited movement. Badlands forever. Oh, I never had the H in my name. My grandpa's name was John with an H. My dad's name was John with an H. My dad apparently did not think I lived up to that name, so they made my name Jonathan, and then I named my son with an H. And it'll just go on forever and ever and ever. Polymathanon, DJT is the signal setter. Heck yeah. Phil Scarborough, Trump is the master of narrative manipulation. Yep, we've been talking about that for a long, long time, and it just becomes more obvious the longer some of these narratives play out. Let's see if there's any other true social posts from Trump before we go on. Let's play this.
Thank you to all of the faith leaders, pastors, and patriots who have come to the Museum of the Bible for this historic meeting of the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty. Under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We will protect the Judeo-Christian principles of our founding. I am delighted to announce that just moments ago, I have personally delivered the Trump Family Bible given to me by my mother. It was used in both my inaugurations and will now be displayed right in the heart of our nation's capital. That's an honor. For most of our country's history, the Bible was found in every classroom in the nation. Yet in many schools today, students are instead indoctrinated with anti-religious propaganda, and some are even punished for their religious beliefs. I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools. And I created the first ever Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias. America has always been a nation that believes in the power of prayer, and we will never apologize for our faith, ever. Together we will make our country greater, stronger, more united, and more faithful than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
I mean, I do really, really like this a lot. You know, Trump is not in your face with it, but he understands the founding principles. And I think prayer is a very powerful thing. I'm not in your face about it either. But I am a spiritual individual. I believe in prayer. And bringing this back into the Department of Education, which, by the way, I thought we were going to be abolishing that thing. Where are we at on that? But Trump teases Education Department guidance on prayer in public schools. President Trump on Monday said the Education Department would be issuing guidance shortly on praying in public school as part of his effort to promote religious liberty in the United States. He made the announcement during a speech at the Museum of the Bible and ahead of the Justice Department's Religious Liberty Commission meeting. I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools and its total protection. He didn't go into detail. Curious to see what it looks like, but said it would benefit students like Hannah Allen, who was forced to pray in a separate room behind a curtain or outside in 2018 after she was caught praying for an injured student in a school cafeteria in Honey Grove, Texas. That is insane that they did that. That is ridiculous. When faith gets weaker, our country seems to get weaker. I can agree with that. The president said when faith gets stronger, as it is right now, we're having a very good period of time after some rough years. Good things happen for our country. It's amazing the way it seems to work that way. Americans have to bring back religion in America, bring it back stronger than ever before. And then it talks about Trump creating the Religious Liberty Commission during National Day of Prayer event in the Rose Garden back in May. It's pretty cool to see how, under the Biden administration, we had the FBI going after churches and religious groups like this. And Trump is correcting some wrongs here, going on the complete flip side of it. And I love it. I think it's a good thing. 100%. I don't know how anybody could think it's not. Let's see what else. Bravest says this is not about mind control, but bias against Christians, and that's just it. Like, there was incredible bias against Christians under the previous administration, and Trump is fixing it. There shouldn't be bias against any religion. Just trying to read the chat here. It's nothing to do with being informed. It's faith, not science. Yeah. You guys are on it. I'm going to move on from this, though, so I don't get myself in trouble. What else? I think that was the only other thing I wanted to share on from Trump's Truth Social. He did congratulate Nick Bosa. I love when he does the sports things. Congratulations to Nick Bosa on an unbelievable play when the San Francisco 49ers win over Seattle. He was born to be a star, President Donald J. Trump. I don't know. I didn't see the play, so I don't know what he's talking about, but it's just funny to me whenever he does the sports references. Let's see what else we got here. Supposedly, Israel targeted Hamas leadership in Qatar strike. Explosions were heard in Doha after Israel carried out an attack against the Hamas leadership there. Hamas says negotiators targeted. A senior Hamas official confirmed to CNN that the group's negotiators were targeted in Doha. The attack appears to be the first time Israel has launched an operation in Qatar. An Israeli official said the United States was told ahead of the attack. I'm curious to see if Trump confirms that. CNN has reached out to the White House and the State Department for comment. Let's see if there's any updates here. European leaders are, oh, come on. I'll have to archive it, guys. Hold for processing. Whoops. Frustrating. Well, now it's going to take a minute. Shoot. I was curious to see some of the reactions, because if the White House denies being told that in advance, that's pretty notable. And I'd encourage you guys to watch Ghost's show today after this show, which, dang it, I just realized we're having a team meeting after this, and I forgot that he has a show. I scheduled it for this time because I thought nobody else had shows, but he has his right after this, so he's not going to miss the meeting. Oh, well. I'll fill you in afterwards, Ghost, if you're listening. Joanne Papa says Trump warned Hamas to get the F out. Wouldn't be surprised. Bill Scarborough, you should have Trump lawyer Peter Tickton back on to update you on what they've been giving to DOJ and Tulsi regarding 2020. That's a good one. John, pull up the Badlands press briefing stream. Ghost is sleeping on the job. What is he doing? I don't think he's sleeping on the job. What do you mean? Oh, there it is. I see what you're saying. I didn't see that in the corner there. My Pillow, promo code Badlands. Love it. Okay, now this is almost done. Come on, I want to read what the headlines are telling me the mainstream media is saying here. Come on. I'll come back to it, I guess. Whatever. There's nothing on CNBC. Normally CNBC is like one of the first ones I go to in the morning to like check headlines and stuff and see what's going on. There was nothing on here that interested me. It's probably the first time maybe ever. Well, this is a new one that I didn't see. Let's check this one out. White House says jobs revision proves Biden economy a disaster. BLS is broken. This is kind of has to do with Trump's post, but remember all like the economic stuff that they were pushing to try to win that election, even though like we could feel it wasn't true. Everybody everywhere could feel that they were lying to us, but they were using like clever catchphrases and words and whatnot to try to spin the data and everything that, oh, things are great. Things are great. It's a Biden economy. We're recovering. All these things. It's been amazing. How many times Biden lied by saying it's the best job numbers, whatever, all the time? Total bullshit. All of it. We knew it, but the mainstream media definitely didn't cover it. They're probably not going to cover this much, if at all. So I wonder how much the normies are gonna see of this. I'd be curious. I would love to see like an actual compiled report of the job numbers as advertised under the Biden administration, and then the actual job numbers as they turned out to be after these corrections and everything. The people should know. The White House used revised job data to release Tuesday as fodder to criticize 3 frequent targets of President Donald Trump. Today, the BLS released the largest downward revision on record, proving that President Trump was right. Biden's economy was a disaster. The BLS is broken, said Carolyn Levitt. This is exactly why we need new leadership to restore trust and confidence in BLS data on behalf of the financial markets, businesses, policymakers, and families that rely on this data to make major decisions. Wouldn't this mean like what we're experiencing right now, our economy is low-key kind of a bubble in and of itself? I mean, if the economy and everything is kind of going up, but it's based on like the underlying information and data in there is fake or fabricated, that means the actual numbers there are not good, and at some point it's going to have to correct. Now, I don't know if Trump's going to be able to avoid that. Maybe he already has. Maybe the tariffs are going to help with some of that. I don't know. But you got to imagine at some point we're going to see some sort of bubble pop there. But I'm not an economist, and this is not financial advice. Bravest, if Besant punches the head of BLS in the face, the story will definitely get out. That's a great point. Tattooed teacher, good to see you. Line with statistics. Bravest, Besant needs to punch somebody in the face. That story from yesterday is so funny. So funny. Man, I cannot believe this is not loading. This is driving me nuts. Whatever. We'll see what CNBS says about it. They target top Hamas officials. This is what Israeli Defense Forces announced. The IDF and ISA conducted a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organization. For years, these members, I guess I have to go to the actual tweet. These members of the Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organization's operations, are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre, and have been orchestrating and managing the war against the state of Israel. Prior to the strike, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. The IDF and ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat the Hamas terrorist organization responsible for the October 7th massacre. See, I thought we were on the verge of a deal. Isn't that what we were told? Just like very recently, like days ago? Was that even yesterday? Maybe over the weekend? I'm going to see if I can scroll back on Trump's True Social post because he had a post about it. And they were just waiting on Hamas to agree to the deal. And then yeah, right here. This is a recent one. Everyone wants the hostages home. Everyone wants this war to end. The Israelis have accepted my terms. It's time for Hamas to accept as well. I've warned Hamas about the consequences of not accepting. This is my last warning. There will not be another one. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Was this what he was promising? Like taking out the leadership? And also, what happened to the pager? The pager attack or whatever that they did. Didn't that take out all the leadership of Hamas that were directly responsible for the October 7th massacre? They're just doing it again. The IDF post did not identify the location of the strike, but a senior Israeli official confirmed to NBC News that it occurred in Doha. Interesting. Strike on the capital of a foreign sovereign nation, one where the U.S. maintains a major military base, is a significant escalation of Israel's efforts to destroy Hamas. Trump administration was notified by Israel just before the attack. I can't imagine they wouldn't at least try to get the permission. Majid al-Ansari, spokesman for Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, condemned the cowardly Israeli attack that targeted residential headquarters housing several members of the political bureau of the movement in the Qatari capital of Doha. This criminal assault constitutes a flagrant violation of all international laws and norms and a serious threat to the security and safety of Qataris and residents in Qatar, the spokesman said. I mean, it is interesting they're taking out the negotiating delegation. If any of this is true, I don't know. But if any of it's true, they're taking out the negotiators as they're waiting for them to agree. The delegation was attacked during a meeting to discuss Trump's proposal for a ceasefire. Man, I am curious to see what Trump says in response to this. And I'm also curious to see what Ghost says in response to this. Fascinating. Yeah, now that thing's loaded. They're saying that the strike was meant to undermine the Gaza peace negotiations, which that makes sense. Then, yeah, today's strike can open the door to an end of the war in Gaza because we took out the people negotiating the peace. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna wait and see what Trump says on this. Not that I'm going to take whatever he says at face value, but I'm just curious. And I don't know if any of what they're saying here about the attack is even true. What do you guys think in the chat? Pages were a different group of terrorists? Okay. Always got to let Ghost weigh in. I should have had him on the show, but mistakes were made. Eric Q. Freedom says, I'm homesick today, but I'm super happy because ICE has begun its operations in Chicago. And you know what? That might be a great segue into one of the stories we're going to discuss today, and that is this. We briefly touched on it last night on Basis Conspiracies, but the DHS has launched Operation Midway Blitz, targeting criminal illegal aliens in Chicago. Department of Homeland Security announced Monday the launch of Operation Midway Blitz, an ICE initiative aimed at apprehending criminal illegal aliens in Chicago and throughout Illinois. The operation is dedicated to Katie Abraham, who was killed in a drunk driving hit and run by Julio Kuklebol, a criminal illegal alien. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the operation will focus on the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens in the city. She criticized Illinois' sanctuary policies under Governor J.B. Pritzker, asserting that such policies have allowed dangerous individuals, including gang members, rapists, kidnappers, and drug traffickers, to remain on the streets. President Trump and Secretary Noem have a clear message. No city is a safe haven for criminal illegal aliens. McLaughlin said, if you come to our country illegally and break our laws, we will hunt you down, arrest you, deport you, and you will never return. I mean, the break our laws part, yeah, that's terrible, and they should be the first ones to go. But if you come to our country illegally, period, you should be hunted down, arrested, and deported. Not just if you're here criming around, just if you're here illegally. And I think that's ultimately what Trump is working at. We do have a Badlander. I'm curious to see if he made it, but he was like one of the final people there, or in the final stages of becoming an ICE agent. We're gonna have a Badlander who is signing a 5-year contract to work with ICE, which is awesome. Get some inside info. The DHS statement framed Operation Midway Blitz as a direct response to crimes committed by illegal aliens who were emboldened by sanctuary policies to remain free despite criminal activity. It's awesome stuff. Absolutely awesome stuff. Badlands Media fan, being here illegally is cramming around. You are spot on. I'm looking forward to the Supreme Court fight, though, surrounding this issue, because Chicago and Illinois are probably going to sue somebody over this because they're just too Trump deranged to do what's in the best interest of their own citizens. It's good for the awakening. It sucks for their cities. A couple of other stories from the Badlands Media website. Michigan judge dismisses charges against 2020 Trump electors. A Michigan judge on Tuesday dismissed criminal charges against 15 Republicans accused of attempting to certify President Trump as the winner of the 2020 election, marking a major setback for prosecutors pursuing similar cases in other battleground states. District Judge Kirsten Simmons ruled that the defendants would not face trial, saying she found no intent to commit fraud. Whether they were right, wrong, or indifferent, they seriously believed there were problems with the election. Simmons said, "I believe they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress." Amen. Amen, sister. This is great. The case brought more than 2 years ago by Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel charged each defendant with 8 counts of forgery and conspiracy to commit election forgery, felonies carrying penalties of up to 14 years in prison. Prosecutors allege the group met at Michigan GOP headquarters in December 2020 and signed a document declaring themselves the state's duly elected and qualified electors. One man had his charges dropped in 2023 after agreeing to cooperate with prosecutors, while the remaining defendants pleaded not guilty and maintained their actions were lawful. Judge Simmons spent nearly a year reviewing evidence in a series of lengthy preliminary hearings before issuing her decision. Michigan's case is the first of several fake elector prosecutions to be dismissed. Prosecutors in Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Arizona have also filed charges, though none have reached trial and many remain tied up in appeals or procedural delays. Nevada revived its case last year. Arizona sent its case back to a grand jury in May. Wisconsin allowed felony charges against 3 Trump allies to proceed last month. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this, we see all of these cases get dismissed because 2020 was stolen. Like, what happens when that proof comes out and what these people were doing turns out to be legitimate for legitimate reasons? But this judge is over the target. They legitimately felt that there were problems with the elections and they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress. We all have that constitutional right. Good news for Michigan. Matt DePerno's time to shine. Heck yeah. Dale D says those media clowns paint it as it was illegal in the mainstream media. Yeah. Anything that goes against their narrative, they tend to paint as illegal. Fake elector cases are ruining lives. 100%. It's fake cases, fake election. I mean, it's all so stupid. All it was like the mainstream media was trying to, obviously they stole the election from Trump, right? That's step one. You steal the election from Trump, you get your media allies to run cover and basically sell it as, yeah, there was no election fraud, right? The most secure election in American history. That was 2020. And anybody who like disagreed, you had to vilify them and criminalize that so that nobody would question these election results ever again. Just ask Ash. If you go against their narrative, they need to make a symbol of you. They basically martyr you. Make an example of you. So shout out to the people who actually tried to stick up for this stuff. Speaking of elections, DOJ weighs transferring state voter data to Homeland Security for criminal immigration probes. I haven't read this story yet, but I think this is interesting. I'm pretty sure this already happened. The Justice Department is in talks with Homeland Security investigations about transferring voter registration data collected from states for use in criminal and immigration investigations, according to government documents reviewed by Reuters. Over recent months, DOJ's Civil Rights Division requested voter registration information from at least 24 states, including full voter rolls from 22 of them, according to letters and a tracker maintained by the Brennan Center for Justice. The data, once transferred, would be cross-checked against Homeland Security law enforcement databases as part of DHS's broader effort to become the primary hub for domestic intelligence vetting. The transfer would be lawful since the information would be used in civil and criminal probes. In letters to the states, DOJ said its collection effort was meant to ensure compliance with the Help America Vote Act and the National Voter Registration Act, both of which require states to maintain accurate and up-to-date voter rolls. The department has also been in discussions with another DHS office that operates the Systematic Alien Verification or Entitlements Program, which historically tracked non-citizens for benefits verification. Government records show SAVE has been expanded to include additional personal data, is now being used in multiple states to vet voter rolls against immigration status. Now, where I think this has already come up is, I wrote about this in my devolution series. I am almost positive. Let me just go to that article quick. I think it was my part 21, which talked about all the election stuff. Yeah, so you have the establishment of the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity, headed up by Pence. They ran into all sorts of lawsuits from Mark Elias and all these other left-wing groups. And then statement by press secretary on the committee when they disbanded it. Despite substantial evidence of voter fraud, many states have refused to provide the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity with basic information relevant to its inquiry. Rather than engage in endless legal battles at taxpayer expense, today President Trump signed an executive order to dissolve the commission, and he asked the Department of Homeland Security to review its initial findings and determine next courses of action. So this executive order was doing registration and ballots and all these other things, fraudulent, improper voter registrations, improper voting. And Department of Homeland Security got all that info after it was wrapped up. That is interesting. I just wonder why they're doing it again. It's a rerun. We'll talk about this tomorrow, probably in the Power Hour a little bit. I'll make sure to do that. Let me send that to BB so I don't forget. Hold for processing. There we go. All right, let's keep going here. French government collapses as lawmakers oust Prime Minister Bayrou. French lawmakers voted Monday to remove Prime Minister Francois Bayrou, toppling the government and thrusting the country into a fresh political crisis marked by economic strain and rising global tensions. The no confidence motion passed with 364 votes against Bayrou and 194 in favor, far surpassing the 280 needed to oust him. The Prime Minister had called the vote in an attempt to secure support for a $51 billion savings plan that proposed scrapping 2 public holidays and freezing government spending. Bayrou, in office for just 9 months, will be forced to resign, becoming the second French prime minister in less than a year to fall to a no-confidence vote after Michael Barnier was ousted in December. I wish it was as easy for us to get rid of our elected leaders as it is for them there. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Bravest, I would think New Mexico and Arizona have a real chance of having lots of cartel infiltration. I would totally agree with that. We've already seen a lot of evidence of that. Ricky Irish, can we stop calling it election integrity until there is some? Election integrity is the goal, not where we're currently at. 100% safe and effective, secure and something. Sarah in the Clouds, $20. Thank you for the rant. Good morning. Thank you for being amazing. Can't wait for Trump's help with crime, illegals, and election fraud in Washington State. Yeah, you guys need the help. I don't follow Washington State politics very often or very closely. I can't even imagine what you guys are dealing with. I think it's bad in North Dakota, and it's really not that bad here comparatively. Anyway, Jared Kushner has joined the White House envoy for talks on Gaza proposal with Netanyahu advisor. Jared Kushner joined the White House envoy Steve Witkoff in Miami on Monday for a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's top advisor, Ron Dermer, according to a U.S. official and source with knowledge of the talks. The meeting focused on a new proposal aimed at ending the war in Gaza and shaping the post-war landscape. Proposal sent last week to Hamas through an Israeli peace activist calls for the release of all 48 remaining hostages, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive, in exchange for a ceasefire, the end of Israel's Gaza City operation, and negotiations for Israel's full withdrawal. Kushner, who served as President Trump's top Middle East advisor during his first term, is now a private investor, but has been working with the former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair on a day-after plan for Gaza. He has taken on a growing role in advising the White House and Gaza policy. 2 weeks ago, Kushner and Blair met with Trump, Witkoff, and other senior officials to present their ideas, which Trump endorsed, instructing Kushner to develop a detailed post-war plan. According to 2 sources familiar with the details, the U.S. plan also includes a clause outlining how Israel would withdraw from Gaza, specifying a complete Israeli withdrawal with no exceptions, including from the perimeter along the border between Gaza and Israel, subject to the ability of the new government in Gaza to enforce security. Israel is reportedly satisfied with this language, as it avoids requiring an immediate and unconditional pullout, while Hamas views the clause as a trap that would allow Israel to retain veto power over the withdrawal process and post-war governance. U.S. officials said the post-war plan will factor in Israel's input, but will not be a BB plan or a Dermer plan. What happened to the Riviera of the Gaza Strip? Remember when Trump went on on TV, and BB was next to him, and he's like, yeah, we're going to turn Gaza into this awesome little like resort location, and everybody lost their mind on social media and saying Trump sold out to Israel. People still say that. But still, now that's not in the picture anymore. Spetzel, if they're publicly mentioning Kushner, I suspect the deal is pretty close. Maybe they just had to take out the negotiators to get the deal through. Kind of like they're going to probably have to take out, metaphorically, what's his name, Zelensky, to get that deal through. Will that interfere with the flow of John's Gaza sheets? Yeah, we still need to get that to market. We're working on it, though. Working our butts off. We'll get that there eventually. House GOP waiting on Trump for spending cues. I think this is hilarious because I think Trump is going to eventually just come out here and do a whole bunch of pocket rescissions once we get a ruling from the Supreme Court, which that should be soon. I'd anticipate. The deadline here is the end of the term, end of September, which is the end of the fiscal year. And that tool that Trump has to do that is, it's so like he doesn't need approval from Congress. He can just pocket rescind anything. If Congress doesn't say no, whatever, it goes into effect. They don't have to spend it. That's how Trump can save us a boatload of money. And now Mike Johnson is saying he's taking his cues from Trump. Speaker Mike Johnson, addressing House Republicans behind closed doors just 3 weeks before the government is set to shut down, said he and other GOP leaders are waiting on direction from White House for next steps on government funding. I kind of hope the White House never tells them anything and we shut down. In particular, appropriators are waiting on anomaly requests from President Donald Trump's budget aides, Johnson said, according to 3 people in the room who were granted anonymity to describe the private remarks. That's a reference to departures from prior year funding levels that would need to be embedded in a stopgap measure to address current spending needs. Johnson was conspicuously silent on one contentious aspect of an expected short-term punt, how long it would last. Democrats and GOP appropriators are eyeing November or December, buying time for further negotiations on fiscal year 2026 funding and other matters, while conservative hardliners and some in the White House want an extension into next year, in part to avoid what they believe could be an unsavory bipartisan deal with Democrats. Johnson said he prefers to enter a conference negotiation with the Senate over full-year bills, 3 of which have already passed in each chamber, but he said he is ready to move a continuing resolution instead to avoid a shutdown, the people said. It's a rerun of what we went through this last year. Remember, they brought forth that huge bill with like 1,500 pages, and I was going through there and I found a few things, and Benny Johnson stole it and ended up on Jesse Waters. But they ended up not passing that bill through. That was the one where they wanted to put a part in there where they could squash or quash. I can't remember if it's squash or quash. I think squash is a vegetable, but I think it also means like squish. I could be wrong there, but quash. I'm pretty sure the language is with just the Q. Quash a subpoena into any of their device or anything if they're investigated. They didn't end up including it, which was cool. But anyway, Johnson said he prefers, I just read that one. House Appropriations Chair Tom Cole also spoke, telling colleagues there had been good discussions with Democrats and Senate counterparts on a compromise minibus package of 3 fiscal 2026 bills. That package could be attached to a CR, keeping other departments and agencies open past the September 30th shutdown deadline. Allegedly, when we have a majority like we do, we shouldn't need the Democrats for anything. We shouldn't need to make a deal with them. I guess we don't have enough in one of the chambers. Isn't that right? Is it the Senate we don't have enough in? Like 7 votes short or something? John, you're going to be the next Mike Lindell with the new Gaza sheets. Feels like concrete, kind of hard and not good to sleep under after getting bombed. Quash subpoenas. Thank you, Ash. I knew I was right. Oh, do we have a troll? Somebody said, CC says, love when the trash is taken out. Yeah. We're going to get a lot of trolls over the next couple months, I would anticipate. Is what it is. But yeah, so looming shutdown. Hope it goes through. Hope we shut down. See what happens. Trump has thrown his support behind the bipartisan effort to ban stock trading for elected officials. President Donald Trump on Monday threw support behind the effort led by Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, of all people, to end stock trading for members of Congress and their spouses. Massive win for Trump, wrote on True Social. She's using a procedural loophole to force a vote to ban stock trading for congressmen, the discharge petition or whatever. Anyway, yeah, 95% of Americans support that for sure. The fact that it's taken this long to get there is insane. But congratulations, Anna Paulina Luna. I'm kind of like going to Just the News last like week or so, and it's depressing. There's been no new D class. There's like nothing good. They're just like summarizing old stories that we kind of already knew. It's boring. Ex-FBI agent who leaked Chinese company had his hands in a wide range of notable investigations. That's like everybody. All of these intelligence people, from mid-year exam to Russia collusion to probably impeachment stuff to stuff that happened in the 51 intelligence agent letter from the Biden laptop, that investigation, they all had their hands in all that stuff. It's all the same people. But yeah, there's a good story on that out on Just the News, summarizing it pretty well. Waiting for more D-class, though. That's what I'm here for. But with that, guys, I think that's all I got for you today. You guys are talking milk duds. Ash says milk duds are so rough on our teeth. Junior mints are little chocolate-covered pillows of joy. I do love milk duds, but you're right. They are devastating to the teeth. Ricky Irish says, Ash, I want to do a fun show. Eat milk duds on the air. 12 Indie Voices. Thank you, Ty, by the way. Good to see you. When I told Alpha happy birthday today, he said only birthday that matters is November 10th. Marines turn 250. Alpha CanCon and I will celebrate in Cocoa Beach. By the way, Pensacola Beach is awesome. Gart one day, maybe. I did see Real Miss Bright in the chat. We are looking for a couple locations for 2026. We should probably figure out what we want to do with that, Miss Bright. But yeah, guys, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to send you over to Ghost Show. I'm going to raid that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. What else am I forgetting? I guess I don't think anything. Oh, I was going to plug this real quick because we got 9/11 coming up in a couple days. And, oops, that's what I want to get to right here. 9/11's coming up Thursday. We are doing our own little coverage here, but there's also some upcoming screenings you can go to. If you're in Marietta, Georgia, Yucca Valley, California, and Fort Lauderdale, you guys should check it out. There'll be Badlanders there as well. Tell your friends, tell your family. Be a good time. And then also we have our own events. Let me plug this if I haven't recently. Cocoa Beach tickets are on sale. VIP and general admission online as well. I'd encourage you to get these because we technically don't have our spring one scheduled. And so this may be the last SCART we have until like June. At least as on paper right now, that's the case. I mean, it's not going to end up being that way, but on paper, this is the last SCART we'll have for till June. So get your tickets, guys. This is a great location. These events are amazing and life-changing. If you can't make it to one of those, you can always make it to a meetup. Check those out. Get yourself some soft disclosure. This lotion is amazing, and it's a great way to support Badlands Media and its creators. I've been using the deodorant every day for like 2 weeks now. Absolutely love it. Don't think I'm ever going to go back to any other kind of deodorant. It's incredible. The lotion obviously use this every day. Talabar I don't use as much because the lotion keeps my skin like so amazing. I don't have any rough spots. But if you do have rough spots or get a lot of chapped lips or something, Talabar's for you. It's great. Check it out. Support Badlands Media in the process. Use promo code Badlands, softdisclosure.com. And with that, guys, I will see you tomorrow right back here, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Daily Herald. You guys have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Extra, extra, read all about it. 2, 3. Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.